Chapter 39. Early the following morning, before Savona breaks the horizon, Cyane and Rosner exit the tent. Kanyu nods at them grimly on the way out. None of them yet fully trust the leaders here. They head east. Rosner yawns absently. I'm fairly certain we are the only ones up right now. She regards him with a look he finds odd. It is soft, but only for a moment. Aside from the watch, she says, turning forward, I have to agree. But that is the point. I wanted to see the camp layout without lingering eyes. He looks ahead, thoughtful. Smart. A couple minutes pass before he asks, So, what do you think? Cyane shrugs. I've seen worse, seen better. Granted, nothing to this scale. They just do not know what they are up against. By the gods, we do not know what we are up against. Not really. They continue further in silence, nearing their destination. Reaching it, both are stunned to see the lieutenant sitting on a stump outside his tent, honing a longsword. Lieutenant Kilmarer is an elf in all respects. He is tall, even when sitting, thin, but unnaturally toned. His eyes are sharp and focused. Long black hair falls around pointed ears. His skin appears almost a faint gold in the growing light, where it is visible under his leather armor and tunic. Even while honing his weapon, Lieutenant Kilmerer's posture is strong, purposeful. Rosner never sees him glance up, but the elf regards them all the same, and none too cheerful. So, you are the two who have been assigned to my command. Two who will make no difference in the coming battle. To Rosner's surprise, Cyane bites her tongue, so Rosner questions him instead. Why do you believe that? Kilmerer stops mid-stroke. He lets out a low growl, finishes his pass, then looks at them directly. His brown, oval eyes are scrutinous. Against 2,000, 2 make no difference. 20 is barely better. 200, that can help. 2,000, that will make a difference. But 2 are meaningless, no matter the skill. He turns back to his weapon. Cyane speaks up. How did you know? That we would be here. The lieutenant pauses. A smile appears, then disappears. The prince instructed us to meet, no? Yes, she admits, but the life-giver has only just breached the horizon. It looks like you have been sitting here since the first breach of light. I enjoy the fresh air, he replies. Then, but seeing as you are both here, he stands and sheaths his sword. If you would, follow me. Rosner and Cyane exchange glances. Lieutenant Kilmerer does not wait. He walks away from them down a path to his left. Both follow. After a short distance, they stop outside a makeshift practice ground, not too unlike the one from Tigthram. After reaching the wooden fence, Kilmerer turns around. Who is first? Rosner frowns. First. Kilmerer regards him coolly. I very little care for many decisions made by the prince. Him giving me you two I see as distasteful. However, I am willing for you to otherwise persuade me. If you can fight, I will be more apt to not request your removal. But I thought you said 2 will make no difference, Cyane recalls. Kilmerer snorts. They will not. You will not. But I am still unwilling to just let anyone into my ranks. Then, coming to his own decision, he says, Swordswoman, follow. Cyan scowls, but she follows him into the pit. My name is of little importance, unless you prove it is not, he cuts in. The two square off and begin their exchange. Cyan, in her evident irritation, starts off. It does not last long. When Kilmer calls for them to stop, it is surely brighter. Savona has only just crested the horizon. The two exchange private words. Afterwards, Cyan walks back to Rosner, breathing mildly heavy. Careful, is all she whispers as she walks past. Rosner follows her with his eyes for a brief second before staring at the elf waiting for him in the center of the ring. As he makes his way over, he questions himself on why he does this. Then a picture of Kedoric drifts into his head, and he sets his jaw. Lieutenant Kilmerer, while he approves both of them, still refrains from letting the two sit in on meetings for the coming battle. He treats them like common soldiers, which evidently infuriates Cyan. I am not a common soldier, she growls to Rosner a few nights later. They sit across each other over mugs of ale. Since being accepted, Lieutenant Kilmerer expresses they mingle with the other soldiers, noting as a side comment to himself, it will not actually matter. As such, the two have spent the past few days in the mess tent during meals, making a habit of leaving early. The issue, they find, is now many are convinced the two are courting. When Cyan first hears this rumor, her blood boils even more. Rosner himself, while annoyed at the accusation, is even more bothered by how much Cyan hates it. I'm more skilled than over half of them, and with that much more experience, she continues, then looks around with an upturned nose. Look at them. Most of them are so green I can tread over them like I do grass beneath my feet. Rosner stays silent. Pretty soon, Cyan's face softens, like he knew it would. They are all going to die. The thing about Cyan, she hides her fear behind a mask of fury, but eventually even she wears out. While she acts like she cares so little about anyone, the truth is she cares about everyone. Or at the very least, she does not wish what is to come on any of them. Yet here they are, one of them. And you think we will not? Rosner asks. When she looks at him, he realizes she has already thought about it, wishing that she had not. He curses himself for not catching it earlier. With soft eyes on him, she says, I think I have had enough socializing. The funny thing is, they had not talked with any other soldiers save for passing greetings, and even those are sparse. The two get up, ignoring the eyes on them, walk out into the night. It is early, but both Perelios and the seer, though through only half a cycle, appear large and bright in the sky, hindered by a stray cloud. With most soldiers and the like being in one tent or another, the makeshift streets are deserted. Cyan walks. Rosner follows, but they do not move in the direction of their tent. When Rosner questions her, she says, You will see. It does not take long for Rosner to recognize their path. Minutes pass before they stand in the training yard, swords drawn. The armorer, after seeing them settled in the ring, goes back to sleep, but not before warning them to not wake him up when they are done. Rosner steps forward, and they engage. Eventually, they break from each other, tired, sore, drenched in sweat, but they both smile wide. Above, clouds start to gather, blocking out large groups of stars. Rosner does not know which one is which, but either the seer or Perelios watches them while the other is hidden beneath the gathering clouds. He takes note In between heavy breathing, he says, "We should head out." Cyan shrugs, then gives him that same strange look she gave him a few days prior when they headed to meet the lieutenant. She sheaths her sword and walks up to Rosner, uncomfortably close. "You know," she whispers, her words almost foreign to him, "I thought we could stay a little longer. Maybe talk about what happened the night before the ferry." Rosner's hands clam up. He starts to sweat again. "Oh, I figured that was behind us. I'm sorry for questioning you," he apologizes. She shakes her head. "No, I should be the one apologizing. It was unnecessary how I reacted. Still," she stares deep into his eyes. "That is not what I was referring to. She cuts herself off and looks behind Rosner, her expression hardening. "What is that?" Rosner turns and spots a figure as it disappears into the shadow of a tent. Forgetting their conversation, the two sneak after it. Tall and fast is all Rosner can gather. That, and it wears a black cloak that seems to meld with the shadows as it jumps from one to another. As they follow, his mind races. Who is this figure? It does not look like it should be here. Where is it heading? Cyan? Rosner whispers. There must be something in his voice because she looks over immediately. They keep pace with the shadow. "Look where we are." She does. Realization dawns and she looks at Rosner worried. They quicken their pace. Not too much longer, and they round a corner just as the figure waves a hand over the guards. They slump over, and it enters the prince's tent. The two stride up to the bodies. After a quick inspection, Rosner lets out an audible sigh. They are only asleep. Then he tenses again. What is going on? They slip in. Inside, there is no sign of life. Even the light from the two through the canvas seems dreary. Where did that thing go? Cyan checks the flap on their left and immediately waves him over. Apart from it being a war room, indicated by the large table with small figures spread across a map, nothing appears noteworthy. Then the cloaked figure steps up and peers down at it. Absorbed by its contents, it appears not to notice the two slide in behind it. Oddly enough, the more Rosner stares at it, the more he is convinced he has seen it before. But where? When? He blinks. In the span of a near instantaneous moment, the cloaked figure faces them. He does not even remember it turning around. Beneath the hood, a bright white skull stares at them with empty sockets, almost like it emits its own light. It is human, but something about it sends chills down Rosner's spine. It points a long, bony finger at Rosner and utters a gurgled shriek before charging into the shadows. Afraid to blink, Rosner looks at Cyan, who already stares at him. What just happened? Her eyes grow wider. You tell me! She yells in a whisper. You addressed it! What are you talking about? What did I say? Cyan shakes her head. What? No, I'm not even going to attempt to repeat what you said. But you did address it. You sounded different. The last bit is quieter, more thoughtful, concerned. Rosner shakes his head. Whatever just happened, they need to get out of here. Outside, the guards are still passed out. Cyan and Rosner walk quickly back to their tent and go to their makeshift rooms. Rosner does not sleep. In part because of the walking skeleton that could jump between shadows. The other is because, according to Cyan, He spoke to it, but he does not recall doing so. And the last part, the last reason, seals the deal. Good to see you have made it. Rosner sits up straight and stares at a figure near the back, the shadow of the night bending around him. The others cannot see me nor hear me, though they may hear you if you speak too aggressively. And why would I speak aggressively? Rosner demands through clenched teeth. He has not even had a whisper of guidance from this being since being instructed to take on this task. Why is he here now? The being ignores Rosner and says, With the tear now in your possession, I need to tell you how to use it. How do you know that I have it? Rosner demands. You would not be here if you did not. Now, you will not like the instructions I have for you, but what I have to say will save your brother.